You're watching Griffon Sports Insider, presented by Spine and Sport Physical Therapy. Now, here are your hosts, Brett Easley and Ryan Menley.
This week on GSI, Missouri Western sports greats enter the 2013 Hall of Fame. Griffon volleyball finally finds itself in a home game, and Griffon football continues to unleash
total pain.
Hello and welcome. I'm betting Big Bo predicts total pain again this weekend in Central Oklahoma.
Shut up. You cannot say anything about betting with the NCAA compliance guy here.
That's right, I forgot.
Did you know that?
I bet.
Well, I hope we're on next week. Anyway, Griffon football still holding steady at number 6 in the nation. They'll try to go a perfect 5-0 Saturday at UCO.
Let's show you how they got to 4-0 last Saturday against Fort Hays.
Week 4, Griffon football trying to stay perfect against winless Fort Hays. Never know what you'll see on game day at Spratt. You have Max tweeting, Batman lurking, Jay walking. First quarter after Hayes scores first, Dom Thomas returning.
To the 30, the near sideline, cuts back to the 40, to the 50-yard line, out of the 45-40, cuts back again, breaks a tackle, and Dominic Thomas will score from 96 yards away. Touchdown, Missouri Western.
Tied at 7 and stay that way to the second quarter. Griff's in the red zone. Travis Partridge to the end zone. Stephon Weaver, snow cone. His 4th touchdown catch of the year. Griffins take the lead. They'd be up 21-7 before halftime, but Hayes getting back in it. Trevon Albert throws one up. Tanner Hagerman just gets a foot in, maybe. 19-yard score. Tigers within 7 at halftime. Green Bay Packers running back Mike Hill hanging out. He'll be in the Missouri Western Hall of Fame someday. The someday was today for former Griffs Shelley Lowry, Brooks Barkley, Brad Nursky, Pierre Thomas, and the 1971 baseball team all taking their place in the Missouri Western Hall of Fame class of 2013 at halftime. Coach Partridge spent halftime saying something to get his team going. They start the third quarter with an 11-play, 75-yard drive capped by this Dalton Kryza 4-yard in-zone plunge. 40 seconds later, Hayes is punting, and that's not what you want. Punter falls down in front of the end zone. Griffins get the ball at the 1. That worked out okay. 2 seconds later, Raphael Spencer turns it to 6. It's now a 35-14 Western lead. Hayes would then fumble away the ensuing kickoff. The Griffins wasting no time taking advantage of that. Partridge to Derek Libby, who does what he does best, weaves his way in for another score. Griffins scored 21 points in 4.5 minutes to take a 42-14 lead. This game out of hand just like that. Later, Raphael Spencer, 16 carries, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns for him. That's pretty much the ball game. Western explodes for 28 third quarter points, and they roll to a 52-21 victory. They run their record to a perfect 4-0.
I mean, the second half was outstanding. I mean, whatever it was in the second half, I can't do the math very good, but 31-7, that's a pretty good second half. So, they did turn it over. We outplayed them in the kicking game. I thought our kicking game was really, really good tonight. It's a win. There's a lot of folks that struggle with different people, and we got to play better on defense in the coming weeks to keep winning them.
Jeremy Jacobson here, senior offensive lineman. I'm here with Dominic Thomas. He had 1 touchdown, rushing touchdown, and ran a kickback. He's real big time out here now. Dom, do you think it has a factor of how short you are, like 5'2", 5'3", for slicing and dicing the defense like you do?
I think you exaggerated the 5'2" a little much, but I think it helps out a little bit when they can't see you when you're running behind these big Griffon hog mollies, we like to call them.
I'm Michael Hill, running back for the Green Bay Packers. I'm here with Raphael Spencer. Tell me this, you think you're faster than me? Nah, I'm not. That's what I thought. Okay, man, so 2 weeks in a row, you score long runs, break out, open field, make some guys miss. They get called back. What are you doing?
Hey, man, not everybody can be as strong and as good as you, Mike.
You gotta do something with the refs, If that happened to me, I just talk to them and I get the touchdown,
Man.
Nice to see Michael Hill back in town.
Without a doubt.
If they didn't have a bye week, he probably would have started for the Packers last week, and he's actually going to be on the roster this week. We just found that out.
Just got a text right here as we're sitting here, and he's been activated. He's been activated. So I think this coach even said he may even start. I don't know. There's one of those players I think that has an ankle injury. One of them's a knee and one's a concussion. I think probably the ankle guy is the one that might still start. But Mike's going to work hard, and it's not going to surprise me he does something special on Sunday.
Well, let's look back to last week. It was just a 7-point game at the half. And again, you're looking at a Fort Hays State team that on paper hasn't been very competitive. They were very competitive in that game. But then, boom, I don't know what you said at the half, but whatever it was, it worked. 28 third-quarter points, and it really put it out of reach.
Didn't say a whole lot at halftime. We stayed pretty poised and just coached them up. Say, hey, let's just play. I mean, I told you to count on 60 minutes. We say it every week, count on 60 minutes out of this opponent. Want to play 60 minutes, and if we get something different, we will be pleasantly surprised. We came out at a nice offensive drive, had a huge conversion on 4th down, great throw and catch. Cashed it in, then Fort Hays made some mistakes and let us separate a little bit.
What did you say at halftime?
Just coached. I mean, just coached. We talked about on the board the plays that have been hurting us on defense and try to do some adjustment stuff, how we're going to handle that.
So there was no rah-rah speech?
No, there was nothing. It was just, well, a little bit like, hey, what do you want to do with this? I mean, what do you want your season to be? Is this something you're going to give away? You're going to go compete and play? And let's put ourselves in 0-0 mode and go from there.
You said in the post game, without looking at film, you weren't really happy defensively with how you're playing. That's 2 straight weeks now. Now, that being said, this team's still near the top of the conference statistically in yards allowed, points allowed.
And we gave up 300 yards.
Yeah. So, but your thoughts on how you're playing?
I want to see us tackle better. That's my biggest concern. Now, if you come watch us practice, we don't go live tackling ever. It's just a philosophy we had for almost 2 decades where just soon they get hurt. If they're going to get hurt in a game situation, we got better tacklers than that. We had some kids that didn't tackle as well as they should have tackled. And, one is, and now they've had tackling practice. They're called football games. So we've had live practice. Now let's tackle better. And that was the thing. I made a joke that we tackled like a bunch of drunken sailors at halftime, and that's what it looked like a little bit. We just were stumbling around. I thought we tackled better in the second half.
Talk about your special teams. We've seen block kicks. We've seen return kicks. We saw another return kick last Saturday, and that was big. Hayes scores the first 7 of the game. And actually, you took a penalty to re-kick, and boy, Dom Thomas didn't let us down, did he?
No, I mean, I thought we dominated special teams. Return a kick for a touchdown. We had another good kickoff return. We had a good punt return. We tackled their punter on, I don't know if it was a fake. I think it was good pressure. He pulled up, he slipped and fell. So twice we tackled their punter basically. We faked the punt successfully. We huge advantages in net punt and net kickoff. They missed a long field goal. We hit a long field goal. I mean, just every phase of it had something good about it. So I was really pleased with that. We spent a lot of time in the special teams, and we dominated that area.
Dom Thomas's effort got him MIAA Special Teams Player of the Week. So your first.
Awesome. We had one last year.
One last year. Now we're already there this year. Yes.
Finally, we're way ahead of the game.
All right, we'll talk more about maybe we'll get a couple offensive, defensive players of the week.
That'd be nice.
Against Central Oklahoma. We'll talk about the Broncos of UCO when we come back.
Now David Bass is going to sling him to the ground, his second sack in this football game.
Spinal sport treatment with Fred, his methods are extremely different from anybody I've ever been with because he takes your injury and breaks it down to a T. I came here right after I had my bone spur surgery for my left foot. He broke my body down, so he kind of went in and took it step by step from my hips down to my knees, to my calves, to my ankles, and fixed everything. I recommend Spinal Sport because of Fred. He has a passion for his athletes and getting people back to where they need to be.
The most helpful physical therapist in the world on neck pain.
I can fix it.
Spine and Sport. Stay healthy, my friends.
Stick 'em, ha ha ha, stick 'em. Stick 'em, ha ha ha, stick 'em. Gonna put the beat.
All right, Beatbox with Bo, another edition. Bo, it's UCO week. Going to Central Oklahoma. Waste no time. Just tell me what the score's going to be, for goodness sakes.
Missouri Western 45, UCO Broncos 23.
45-23. Bo, that's actually the most realistic prediction we've had here on the show. It's usually they win by 200. Why so close this week? For what reason? UCO's 0-4.
Jerry Partridge comes out of retirement, suits up and plays the whole team by himself.
So you're telling me that there's no other Griffons on the field?
No, just Jerry.
So you're telling me that Coach Jerry Partridge, who's almost 50 years old, takes on UCO by himself, 1-11, and wins 45-23? Is that what you're saying?
Did you hear me stutter?
No, I guess I didn't hear you stutter. And that's very intimidating. Should I ask you how you came to this conclusion? I already know the answer.
Total pain.
Well, welcome back. 45-23. That was actually the score from last year's game against UCO, but
had the entire team play. So.
I thought he was getting more on track, but then he dropped that in. Not that you're not capable of that.
Not capable of that. I have no desire to do that again ever, and I'm not sure I could beat 11 Jerry Partridge. You could beat 11 nuns right now in football.
I'd like to see that.
Well, I would pay to see that too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that would be total pain or not. UCO, they're 0-4. It's really crazy. You have not played a team with a win yet. That's. I hate to bring that up, but it's just kind of how this league is stacked up.
Well, last year it was that same setup, except UCO had just upset Washburn, and then the very next week we played Northeastern, who had not won a game yet. So it was our first 6 games where we played somebody that either had only won one or won none, and so it's just the way it sets up. When you play a Central Missouri team who's very, very good, and you play them week 1, that happens a little bit. So they'd have had a win if we'd have played them later in the week.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah. So it's just a technicality, a weird stat.
Well, you're the king of the weird stats. And, when you look at the Central Oklahoma team, every week we've said, well, this is the best team we've played today. Well, this Central Oklahoma team, especially on paper, good running back in Josh Birmingham. They've got a dangerous quarterback. They got a K-State transfer, I think, out at wideout. This is a formidable offensive club, isn't it?
I think it's as good an offensive personnel as we've faced all year long. I think Central Missouri's O-line really pass protected well. I think Kearney's O-line was a very good run blocking O-line. I think there's some skill kids we faced this year. Fort Hays had a few of them that were pretty good. But I think these guys have a quarterback with an incredibly strong arm, probably the strongest arm we have faced to date, and can throw a very accurate out route and can run enough to hurt you. Josh Birmingham is the best returning back in our conference.
He has 10 touchdowns already.
Yeah, he's good. And he got hurt a little bit, so we'll see what the situation is. I bet he won't practice a whole lot this week. Got him Christian Bobo is a good back. They put in there a lot. The other kid that played against Washburn's good. They have Clark's his name. The K-State transfer, he's got 200 all-purpose yards a game, 140 receiving. So they've got very good offensive personnel, and they've got our attention, and we're very nervous about this football game this Saturday.
Now, that being said, defensively, they have given up a lot of yards, over 500 a game, and some points. Do you expect a shootout going down there?
Well, I haven't been able to watch that part of it yet, but they obviously improved drastically defensively against I've watched Washburn on film quite a bit because we've seen them a lot, and Washburn is Washburn again. So that was a very good
19 game last week.
Right, very good performance. So they got better on defense last week, and I think they got very good offensive skill, and it's a trip that we got to go all the way down there for, and so it's going to be a difficult task, and we've got to play our best.
Last time you played at Central Oklahoma, I believe it was 2005. Was that the year?
6. It was
2006.
a shootout. Yeah, it was
a double overtime shootout.
Jared Brooks had a good game that day, didn't he?
Jared Brooks always had good games back in those days, but our good friend Michael Burton threw 2 pick sixes, good quarterback. Then he came back and had a great game and took a touchdown winner to Jared Brooks. I think they kicked a field goal in overtime. We scored a touchdown in overtime to win that game.
That was the last time you were there?
Yep, and we played them in 05 at our place.
Well, a segment that does get a lot of talk, and we talk about it all the time, is Easley's Tantalizing Trio.
Are we the only ones that talk about it?
It's not. No, I get calls and emails and faxes all the time about it. And you know what? It's Oktoberfest this week. It's fall foliage is ready to roll. Come on out, sit on the deck. It is. Pumpkin pie is on special. Pumpkin everything.
Is Oktoberfest,
ready to roll.
Is that different than the first week of October, just being October?
The whole month. We'll have another special next week. Coach P, I'm going to ask you some obvious questions because you've wanted me to ask you the obvious questions. Royals, 86 wins. Is it playoffs or else next year?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Finally? Okay. Chiefs, 4-0. Are they for real?
I still stick with my 9-7 prediction.
You still going 9-7?
Wow.
Okay.
I don't feel totally solid about their O-line.
They're 4-0.
They are good. That's good.
And they have good defense. Defense is for real, right?
Defense is very good.
Okay. And finally, Pierre Thomas went our Hall of Fame last weekend. I know Pierre, one of your favorite players. Do you have a favorite Pierre Thomas memory? I know there were several. You have a favorite memory?
Well, he had 3, and Bob talked about this in the Hall of Fame thing. He had 3 different games where he had 3 picks. So that was in one season. That wasn't over a career. That was in one season. And just, probably there's 2 that come to mind. The 3rd pick in Central Missouri, that one year he threw the ball in the stands. And then there's another one where he took off running after interception. He zigzagged back and forth and then got to the 2, got tackled on lateral to a teammate for the touchdown. So there was a lot of high wire actually, but he's a great football player. And yeah, he was a little bit competitive and can be a little bit high strung, but anybody knew he was a good guy, and anybody that disliked him for those bad reasons, I don't care about you anyway. He's a good person.
Okay, well, we care about you going 5-0.
Yes, we do.
Yes,
okay.
I do too.
Let's do that at Central Oklahoma this weekend.
We'll see you there.
We'll see Coach Partridge there, and we'll see for another win. That would be a good thing. We'll be right back.
Sometimes I wonder if Elvis had hip pain. And if he did, I know I could have fixed it. And if I did, he'd still be alive today.
Well, neat deal this past weekend on the Diamond. Griffon softball paying tribute to one of its own. Plaque dedication for Leanne Martin Francis. Martin Francis was a three-sport athlete for Missouri Western in the early 1980s. She was an all-conference softball player, an all-American volleyball player, also played basketball as well. She died this year after a long battle with cancer, but her name will now live on forever at the Spring Sports Complex. Meanwhile, other former Griffon greats took their rightful place in history this past week.
Boy, they sure did. And every Hall of Fame weekend is special, as 4 talented individuals and 1 special team made up the Missouri Western Athletics Hall of Fame class of 2013.
Our first inductee was the first baseball player in Missouri Western history to be honored with All-American status as an NCAA institution. Brooks Barkley left his mark on the Griffon record book in several categories.
Some of the best relationships in my life are with my old teammates and people that I met while going to school here and playing here. And now, baseball, it's taken me so many places, and now it's landed me in the Missouri Western Hall of Fame.
Shelley Lowry, a middle hitter, transferred to Missouri Western from the University of Missouri and had arguably one of the greatest 2-year stints ever by a volleyball player in MIAA history.
You know what? It's amazing. It's very nostalgic. I wish all my teammates were here because we were such a close-knit family, and it took the whole team to get me this honor. It's a blessing. It's amazing.
From 1997 to 2001, Brad Nursky, a St. Joseph native, becoming one of the greatest golfers in Missouri Western history.
It's just an unbelievable thing that happened, and a lot of hard work went into getting here this weekend, and just proud to be a Griffon, and glad I could make it happen.
One of the greatest football players ever to put on the black and gold for the Griffons from 2000 to 2003, Pierre Thomas, a star running back and defensive back out of Lee Summit North High School.
It's been a long road for me. I know a lot of you guys know I've had ups and downs, and thank you guys for everything that you guys helped me with and provided for me. Missouri Western was great to me, and it made me who I am today.
Our last group of inductees set the standard for Missouri Western baseball's program. The 1971 Griffon baseball team finished with an overall record of 33 wins, 8 losses, and won the NAI District 16 championship.
But they all gained some weight and lost some hair. And I can't understand that, I thank you very much, and this has been a great honor for me to see all these guys again, because I've never seen this before. So, Dylan and people, thank you very much for this honor of mine to be with these guys and meet you people for the Hall of Fame. Thank you.
St. Joe's really produced quite a few professional athletes in the last few years. One thing they all have in common is they've all walked through our doors here at Spine and Sport.
I've done stuff that I've never done at any other physical therapy place, and I've been to a lot of physical therapists.
I recommend Spine and Sport because of Fred. He has a passion for his athletes.
I would recommend Spine and Sport to anybody from your average athlete to your professional athlete.
Train like the pros at Spine and Sport. Okay, we're back with the functional movement screen. And before we proceed to test number 4, we're going to talk a little bit about the scoring system. Scoring system is a 0 to 3 scale. It's a 7 test, so the best score you can get is 21. Very critical test because we're trying to identify weak links. So let's recap Dalton's first 3 tests. On the deep squat, he scored a 1. On the hurdle test, he scored a 2, and on the inline lunge, he scored a 2. Those are all related to the mobility and the stability deficits that we've identified. So far, after 3 tests, Dalton's got a 5 on our functional movement screen. Test number 4, is called the shoulder mobility test. This is how we get started. We measure Dalton's hand. So he's standing there. We take a measurement of his wrist crease to his fingertips. We see that he's got a length of an 8-inch hand there. So we now have him close his thumb in his fist, both sides, and he's going to reach behind him. So we're going to have Dalton spin. And we're looking at the flexibility on how close they get. So we go back to his fist. We look at, he's at an 11, so he's more than 1 times the width of his hand. So now he's going to flip that around and do the opposite hand on top. Same with this. We're looking at that. We want him to get within 8. And on this side, he almost gets there, but not quite. I'll turn around here. But that test is a measurement not only of shoulder mobility, but how well does the thoracic spine move in between there. Dalton scores a 2 on that test because his mobility there is not as flexible. So as we look at moving these tests together, we're seeing some continuity now in Dalton's thoracic spine being tight. We need to work on that to prevent injuries. If you want your athlete to prevent injuries, you need to train like the pros at Spine and Sport.
Break bone, your leg bone connected to you. Knee bone connected to you. Thigh bone out here, the butt of the bone.
It's all connected.
Connected to you. Hip bone, your hip bone connected to you. Backbone, your backbone connected to you. Shoulder bone out here, the butt of the Lord.
Well, it's Tailgate of the Week time, and you know what? When you come across a smoker like this is our winner. Hey, I'm here with Jordan from Phi Sigma Kappa, and Jordan, tell me about these ribs. What's going on with these things?
Well, we're here every morning. We start about 9 a.m. We thaw them out, then we simmer them in Budweiser, heavy brew in a pan.
Absolutely.
For about an hour and a half with some spices. It's got a sweet and tangy, and then if you get it just right, it's got a spicy to it too on the way down. So.
Okay, well, those are all for me. Now we're going to slip over here. I'm talking to my man Colton. He's the president of Phi Sigma Kappa, and Colton, you're smoking these ribs. You're out here for every home football game. It's for a good cause, isn't it?
Yes. What we're doing is we're trying to send 2 athletes to the World Games in 2015, Special Olympic World Games. Costs about $2,500 an athlete, so we're trying to raise $5,000 to send them.
Well, Colton, we're going to help you with your tailgate. For being our Tailgate of the Week, we're going to give you $50 towards your next Griffon tailgate to Hy-Vee. Now, I want to ask you one more thing, because you guys brought back an important tradition last year. Tell us about the can and the General.
Oh, the General, I mean, we're very glad to have it back. Hopefully, you know, add a little excitement to the football games, and we have a good time doing it too. So.
Well, we like it, and you know what the good news is? You guys shoot it a lot, don't you? Because we shoot it after every touchdown.
We actually, today, we had to go and get some more propane because we were running low for the last game, but we're fully stocked, and we'll be able to shoot it off for the rest of the season.
Well, that's good news, and hopefully we shoot it off a lot. If you want to be our Tailgate of the Week, come out early, cook some good food, and we'll find you. Let's hear you one more time.
We've got a special
we do.
guest today.
Heck yeah.
Assistant Athletic Director of Development,
First
Dave
time?
Lau.
Yeah, you bet. You betcha.
Yeah, live appearance. You've been on the show a couple times. Well, you've got something to show us, though.
It's pretty sharp,
cool.
too.
We've got Military Appreciation Day coming up in a couple weeks here.
October 26th.
October 26th. Play Pitt State that day. This is a fantastic co-branded item that we have approved by the university and also the Missouri Army National Guard. And what we want to do with this is sell this at a very reasonable rate of $20 per hat. We'd like to see 5,000 of these out in the stands, if possible. But the way we'll do that is if you can contact us in the Looney Complex, in the athletic department, or game days between now and the 26th. I guess we got one, which is homecoming, so we'll sell that day as well. Just come in, we'll fit you, get you sold, and send you out the way, and then on that day we'll have plenty of hats on our thing.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. I want one now. Can I have one now?
And you buy that hat, you get a free bowl of soup, right?
All right. Yeah.
Isn't that what it is? That's what I thought. Well, that looks good on you.
And that looks good.
I'm not giving it back either.
And he doesn't look good in a lot of stuff, but that looks good.
This is cool, and we'll see this on the logo for the helmets as well. This is the red, white, and blue that's going on the helmet.
That's the intention, yes.
That's cool. So dress like the Griffs, Military Appreciation Day, great cause.
You bet. A few games to win before then, but we hope to see you in the stands that day as well.
All right, that's GSI for this week. Dave Lau, thanks for joining us.
Wear your red, white, and blue, and as always, ladies and gentlemen, go Griffs.